Howdy, it's me, Ben Brady, the 3D Printing Texan. Figured I'd jump on here and do a quick video. I haven't done anything in a while because it's summertime here in Texas and it's damn hot here in my office. Typically, we've had a run of about 20, 100-degree or better days, and I don't have air conditioning. I have a little portable air conditioner going in the background today, and hopefully it'll make this a little bearable. I hope the noise isn't too distracting. But I wanted to jump on here and do a quick video about some little known ways to use supports, or actually support blockers, in Cura. And so I'm using Cura 4.0. I haven't upgraded to the latest version because I'm working on a project, and the built-in Creawesome mod that's now in Cura 4.2.1 gets in the way of dimensional accuracy. So rather than fight with that, I'm sticking with the devil I know instead of the devil I don't. So, but I'm going to show you some things in Cura that you might want to know about. So what we're going to do is I'm going to switch my view here, and let's see here, and open up Cura. Bear with me just a second here while I get things open. And I'm finding these things out. I'm working on a project for a guy, and for the past 3 weeks I've been embroiled in getting my Chico, be quiet. Hey, quiet. Sorry about that. I've been getting my CR10S upgraded to there we go, to an E3D Titan Aero direct drive extruder and a Volcano hot end. And that's been a challenge, and that's how I found out some of these little secret things in Cura, because I had to make my own mounts. There are several mounts up on Thingiverse, and they're fine for the Titan Aero if you're just using the stock hot end, but they don't work well for the Volcano hot end. And so I end up having to create my own fan duct. I did a remix of a model that I had up there. I found up there on Thingiverse. This one works with a Volcano hot end. The other one was 11 millimeters shorter, and it works with the stock hot end. So there's 11 millimeters difference between the stock E3D V6 hot end or Aero extruder hot end and the Volcano hot end. So this is the part cooling fan duct for a 5015 fan, and then I had to come up with a model for my CR10 to accommodate the Titan Aero. I'm sorry that it's white because it doesn't show the details of the model with white very well, but so the Titan Aero, the stepper motor fits here, and then the Aero fits on this side, and the stepper motor spindle goes through this hole, and then of course there's screw holes to mount this, and then of course this back plate here gets mounted on the carrier on the CR10, and so and then I had to figure out, now the whole reason I did this was I wanted to convert to be able to use 3 millimeter filament, because I have about 300 spools of 3 millimeter filament that I'd like to use. And so I said, oh, okay, I'll go ahead and I'll convert the hot end and make it so that I can use 3 millimeter. And if need be, I'll be able to convert back to 1.75 millimeter, and I won't have to change much, just a few pieces. And so as it is, I have a project that requires the volcano hot end because with a 0.4 millimeter nozzle using the CR10 standard hot end, the print that I had to do took 76 hours. And with the volcano hot end, I've got it down to about 38 hours. So I had to come up with a mount that would work. And then, of course, I had to come up with the part cooling fan mount that would work with the volcano hot end. And to complicate things, the BL Touch. There are several mounts that have that will accommodate the Easy ABL, but there isn't any that will accommodate a BL Touch and a volcano hot end. So that's why I had to create this. As far as I know, this is the only model available on Thingiverse that will do a BL Touch and a volcano hot end with a Titan arrow and the filament sensor. The filament sensor is up here. And now the stock CR10 filament sensor, a lot of people kind of do away with that, but in reality, it really is a necessary thing if you're doing long prints like I'm doing. Now, one of the things I'm doing, I've also gone to a 2.3 kilogram spool just so I don't run out of filament, unless I know about it. Now, the problem with the CR10 filament sensor is it does not communicate well. Chico, quiet. Quiet. Sorry. Does not communicate well with Octoprint, and that's a problem with Octoprint, not the sensor. There is a setting in Marlin 2.0 bug fix that you can set that will send communication to Octoprint, but the implementation in Octoprint is what's flawed. And so when they get that fixed, it'll work better. Gina at Octoprint knows about it. People from Marlin have communicated to her about the problem. So if you go into configuration_adv.h and you search for host action commands and you enable that, and right below that in the if statement there's an option that you have to enable called host action prompt, I believe it is. You can't miss it. It's right there in the if statement. If you enable both of those, then if the filament sensor triggers, it will send a notification to Octoprint. The filament sensor part works fine. The problem is if you trigger some command like abort print on your printer, on the control panel on your printer, then it sends a message to Octoprint and it puts a message up on the screen, and there's no way to drop the message. Well, since then I've had communications that if you hit the escape key on the keyboard it will drop the message, but there's no indication that that happens on the screen. There's nothing that says hit escape to continue. So there's some issues with Octoprint, and Gina is aware of them. Now, my whole premise for printing this was to facilitate the use of the sensor, and of course I have to build a little extension cable to make sure that there's enough cable for the sensor to go all the way to the top, and then of course I had to extend this a bit so that it give me room for changing the filament from the extruder. Okay, now all of this being said, these two models taught me what I'm going to show you in Cura. So let's jump over to Cura right now. So here's Cura, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna load a model in. I'm gonna load my my fan mount model in, and let's see here, and we're using our let's see, That's a Cura project. Let's just go ahead and import the model. I picked the project. As you can see here, I already have. I'm going to go ahead and clear the beer. I'm just going to go ahead and pick the model itself from my location. I did an open region. So let's see here. So this is the one we want. There. So here's the model itself. And what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to print this without supports inside of this ductwork for the cooling fan to blow out of, and this area here where this needs to be open for the cooling fan to blow through, and underneath here, because the cooling fan fits on here, and we want to be able to have a way to get air down through that ductwork. So what we're going to do is I'm going to let's see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I'll switch back to Cura in a second, but I'm going to explain the process. So I've got the model loaded in, and what we're going to do is we are going to highlight the model in Cura, select it, get it oriented the way we want to orient it on the print bed. In this case, it's pretty much fine. This model is designed to print with as little supports as necessary. And then we are going to block off the areas where Cura would normally put supports. Now now this is an extension that's available in the Cura marketplace called Support Blocker, and it goes over in the left-hand side. Let me switch back over here. It goes over here in the left-hand side on the toolbar. So if we highlight the model, of course the toolbar lights up, and then we're going to pick the support blocker, and then we're going to attach a block, a support block, to the model. So if we go down here and we just click on the model, you can see it puts a little gray block here. Now here's the secret to using this effectively. You could go to the different places in your model and block off supports like this. Okay, yeah, you can do it that way. That's one way to do it. And then of course you'll have to go through, and I'm going to just go ahead and delete them. I'm just highlighting them and pressing the delete key. But at the same time, oh, did I lose my microphone here? Let's see, did the battery die? Maybe? There we go. So at the same time, you'd have to go through and do individual places. So what I did was I figured out I could highlight the model, use the support blocker, and put my support block where I wanted it. And then I can highlight the support block itself, and now I can modify that support block independent of modification of the model. And so in this case, I'm going to scale it. Now, in the scaling box, there's a check mark that says uniform scaling. If that's turned on and you move any one of these scaling tools, it will uniformly scale that block. If you click on the move box, you can move it up and down. And that's fine if you have pretty good areas that you want to block supports. But here's what I found: if you're in the scaling mode and you uncheck uniform scaling, you can then have independent axis of the size, top to bottom, front to back, right to left, of the support block. So if we go back to the move, we can now move this to where we need it, and we can scale it appropriately. So let's go back to scale, and I want to scale this, stretch it out a little bit, because I'm actually going to need 2 of these. So, and you'll have to play with this to get a feel for how it works. So I don't need it that big front to back, but we'll just go ahead and resize it a bit so you can see what I'm talking about. And I don't need it to be that tall. So let's just drop this down a little bit to the build plate, and then we can move it back here. So now you can see we have all of the area of the semicircle covered with the support block. And actually we don't need it that wide, so we can actually shrink it down a bit. So now you can see how you can tailor your support block. Now I didn't go all the way through here because I do need supports in the triangles going up here, so I didn't want to go all the way over there. Now let's see, depending on how far down they go, I could get by with blocking. So I mean, I could scale it more this way and move it. Let's see here. Can I get all the way over there? Yeah. Okay. So now I have it scaled so that it covers all of the area where I have to block. And then I can still have my supports will pop into these triangles where they need to. All right. So that's how you tailor your support blocks to the size that you need, instead of going block, 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 block. All right. Now, you can do the same thing with the custom support extension. That's also available in the marketplace. Now, the thing to remember is, and apparently I have a battery that's dying in my little receiver. So the thing to remember is, if you're using the support blocker or the support custom supports, if you're using the custom supports, make sure you have Cura's built-in supports turned off. And that's one of the reasons I don't use it, is because it's kind of a pain in the butt to remember. But I use the support blocker regularly, and the support blocker works great. It's not exact in terms of where you put the support block. I mean, you need to usually make the support block bigger a little bit so that it actually blocks everything that needs to be blocked. But with being able to scale it in a custom fashion and making it the right size and moving it where it needs to be, it just makes it a lot easier. So there's a lot of people that are using Cura that don't have any notion about using the support blocker, or don't have any notion about how to effectively scale it or size it to fit their needs. So I just wanted to jump in here and show you this, and I hope it was helpful to you. And feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. Like I said, I don't ask for any donations. I just do this because I want to. If you want to donate something to the channel, you can send me an email, or you can find me on Thingiverse and tip my designs, or you can send me a message in PayPal. There's a number of ways to do it. And I appreciate every one of you who are watching. I'm sorry that I haven't been very active, but the summer has just been brutal on me, and I'm really involved in a big project here. So hopefully, as the summer cools down, I'll be able to spend some more time here in front of the camera. Until then, take care, Be well. God bless. I am Ben E. Brady, the 3D Printing Texan.